Ladies and gentlemen, my name is TotalBiscuit. I'm here to ask and answer one simple question. WTF is that goop, and also Nidhogg 2. The sequel to Nidhogg, a game that took far too long to develop, considering that it looked like it was made on the Atari 2600, was actually an extremely fun, insta-kill dueling game of sorts, in which two players duked it out with a fencing sword, for all intents and purposes, which you could throw, and you had to kill the enemy and then run to your side of the screen. And you kept going until you got to the end, at which point you were eaten by a giant snake, Nidhogg. It was essentially a tug-of-war with stabbing in it, and Nidhogg 2 arrives on a big train of controversy because they completely changed the visual style. Not that that would take much. The original's visual style, as I said, was in that of the Atari 2600. It was extremely simple. This time around, they have taken a very garish approach. You could say that the first game was minimalist, whereas this one is maximalist. And you'll see what I mean in a moment. Lots of color, riotous, contrasting colors. Does it work? Well, that's questionable. I think it's going to be very subjective. I'll give you my opinion on it, but I'll also talk about the features, because one of the concerns about the original is whether or not it was worth the money, and that concern remains here. First things first, let's look at the options menu. This could do with some work, frankly, in my opinion. It looks a bit messy, as you can kind of see here. These two different player selectors have text that is overlaying each other. That could look a lot better than it did. Otherwise, key rebinding works exactly as it should, and it actually does have full mouse control in the menu, which is nice, considering it's pretty much a keyboard-controlled or gamepad-controlled game. This is very easily set up to play two players on the same machine, and frankly, that is the best way to play it. Outside of that, though, you do have an online mode and an arcade mode. We'll start with the arcade mode after we've looked at what there is of video options. This... not enough. So you've got low, medium, and high end effects. That's fine. The main problem I've got with it is it doesn't have a proper windowed and full screen mode that lets you set the resolution. When I set it to windowed mode, it was in this tiny little dinky useless window. This is frequently omitted in indie games for some reason. It really needs fixing, and I don't know why it's missing here. Otherwise, you do have your audio sliders. A bit of inconsistency here with the menus, because you've got the mouse control here in controls, but you don't have the mouse control in the other menus. A little messy. Okay, let's go to arcade mode first, and right. So, this is the aesthetic. An interesting choice, to say the least, and you might be thinking, what on earth is that? Good question, but as it turns out, you actually now have a lot of character customization. It's pretty fun stuff here as well, if you want to use it. So, if we look at that, we can get ourselves a mustache and a sports bra. Sure, why not? Sounds pretty reasonable to me. There we go. And some short shorts, perhaps. There we go. I don't see a single problem with any of this. Add some hair. Some lovely, lovely hair. An accessory, perhaps. There we go. Alternatively, you could just mix and match and just go for completely random by pressing F. I like the random option. The issue with spending a little bit too much time in this is that, especially in online mode, you can be waiting for the other person to pick their silly visual customization. So the arcade mode is really, really basic. If you were hoping for a very good quality single player mode and campaign that had a lot to it, this game definitely is not that. Basically, it starts you off on this level every time, and you are expected to beat the whole lot pretty much in the same go. If you abandon it, then you will not, in fact, progress, and you have to start right again from the castle. And the way that it works is that the castle starts you with the basic Nidhogg weapon, which is the fencing sword, the rapier. And eventually it will introduce some more weapons and then start to spawn you with different weapons every time, which is exactly how the multiplayer mode works. And you're fighting against a fairly basic AI. And this AI, yeah, it's capable of killing you, certainly. It's not hugely challenging. It can kill you. Yeah, there's no question. But that right there is the major problem. The AI does stuff which is suboptimal. So Nidhogg 1 and 2 are both single-hit kill tug-of-war games, right? So the whole point is to get the kill, to set the arrow into your color, so that you can then run to the end of the stage. Oh, not good. There we go, we can kick these. There's so much you can do in this, which is super cool. The fighting system is always enjoyable and has a lot of surprising amount of depth to it. Anyway, this is the whole point, to run to the final screen and then to get to the end of the level so you can be eaten by the Nidhogg. The problem is the AI, instead of running after you die, will turn around when you respawn and fight you, which is actually the wrong strategy. Nice. Because you can just keep running. That's actually absolutely, in my opinion, the best way to do it. And when I played multiplayer against my wife, and the video for that is linked in the description below, so you can watch the whole thing. A lot of yelling, a lot of screaming. Trust me, the absolute best way to experience Nidhogg. It's a very fun spectator game. Is to just keep running. It's not, if you respawn, you shouldn't be chasing someone from behind, because you probably can't catch up to them. Throw your weapon. If that misses, the best thing you can actually do is run in the opposite direction, off the screen, so you can then respawn. The AI doesn't do that, which makes fighting against the AI a very limited experience. It's okay for a bit of practice, and it's not like the AI can't kill you, it totally can. It just does the wrong thing. It plays suboptimally, and I don't really know if that's fixable. It will do the right thing, like, you know, deflecting your thrown sword out of the air, ducking arrows occasionally from time to time, stuff like that. But I imagine making a really good AI for what is essentially a fighting game. I mean, it is. You know, I don't think in my eyes, there's like no real doubt that this is a fighting game, and I'd actually love to see this on the Evo circuit, by the way. It would be damn hilarious and super hype. As we experienced on the stream, people absolutely loved it. The AI, unfortunately, just can't keep up with that fact. You know, it did the right thing there by running off the screen, but sometimes it does illogically chase you for no reason. Sometimes it does that, and it will almost invariably turn around when it has the advantage, and instead of just running and winning, it will turn around and fight you. I think that may have been a deliberate decision, but it also means the AI is very easy to exploit because its behavior doesn't vary, so you're not really going to find consistent entertainment from this arcade mode. It is a nice little demonstration of the really cool varied levels they've got this time around, though, and that art style has very much enabled them to do a ton of really awesome varied levels with lots of hazards and really cool themes. And of course, there's music that's very appropriate to it as well. There's a club level. That club level is fantastic. It has its own club theme and all that kind of thing. So, you know, this is all right. It's okay that it has it. It's kind of a shame that they didn't make a proper campaign mode this time, because this is the second game. So more often than not, you'd expect that maybe in the sequels. Unfortunately, they don't have it. Oh, I don't really know how that missed, actually. Oh, hey, it did. The AI is also very good at brawling with fists. Actually, a lot better than I seem to be at it. There we go. Roll past and get my weapon back. Amazingly. But you can see, this version has different weapons in, which the original really didn't. So you have a rapier, you've got a broadsword, which can only kind of block at 2 levels. You can throw it. It's got this big arcing swing, so it's really cool for cutting people out of the air. And of course, you know, it gives people very, very nicely. There is a knife, which is obviously an extremely fast attacking weapon that you can throw. There is a bow. And if I recall correctly, that is about it right now. And in the full-on multiplayer mode, it will rotate you through those weapons. And there's actually a set rotation, and you'll know what your next weapon is going to be. In the arcade mode, as you can see, you just get a single weapon in the first few levels, and then they eventually let you play all levels. It's basically a glorified tutorial. Let's call it what it is, which, unfortunately, is a problem that a lot of these sort of arcade modes end up having. Unfortunately. That's her opportunity. There we go. She gets to run that way. There we go. It's okay. It's okay. But I was hoping for a lot more. Anyway, let's get to the meat of what the game is, which is the multiplayer mode. Now, there'll be plenty of examples of the local play. If you click in the comments and description section below, I have linked Jen's full-on video of us playing on stream for over an hour. But I'm going to play online, and I'll give you a little bit of a show of how long it takes to match and all that kind of thing. The problem with the online mode is that it doesn't have quite as many customization options as local, which allows you to do things like ban weapons if you want. It allows you to set your timer. The default timer for online is a 10-minute match, which I think might be a little long. You can certainly find players, but there aren't all that many. And that's always going to be a concern for people when it comes to looking at the value proposition. And it really sucks to say when it's a game that I enjoy, because I have to think to myself, is it safe to recommend a game like this to people? I think the safest way to do it, bearing in mind, thankfully, it is not an online-only mode game. If you have a friend, any kind of friend, whether it be an online friend that you can play with on Steam via the Invite a Friend feature, or locally, this game's got a ton of content in it. And if you can find a person that will regularly play against you, you'll have a whale of a time. And that is something that I should really emphasize. Nidhogg 2 is really, really fun. It's incredibly tense, and even dying in this game, I find funny. It's a genuinely funny game. It's not trying to be in most situations. There's a few little humorous elements in the levels in the background, things like that, but the animation seems to be all procedurally generated. The models actually react based on how they hit. Like, you can impale somebody on a sword and you can keep them there. And they interact with the weapons, and the collision detection interacts properly with the skeleton of the model. They almost act like ragdolls. In fact, they basically are ragdolls. So that's sort of how that works. And I think as a result, the game is just consistently funny. You make mistakes, you end up killing yourself, you end up throwing yourself down a pit. It's a riot. All the time. All the time. That's what makes the game absolutely phenomenal. And I think it's definitely a game that, one, should be ported to Switch, because that's an ideal platform for that. And two, should be expanded when it comes to its multiplayer functionality. Having, say, lobby servers that people can join as a tournament, like kind of like the tournament modes that are in other online fighting games, where you can get a lobby of maybe 6 people and 2 people fight at a time, and it's when it stays on, and everyone else spectates, and maybe there's a VoIP mode so they can laugh at each other and all that kind of thing. That would be great. It is a very small indie developer making it, though. It's not like Capcom or Bandai Namco. Namco Bandai? I can't remember which way they went this time. Tecmo Koei, Koei Tecmo, I don't even know. It's not a big development company able to do that, so this is very limited, unfortunately. The concept for the game and the core gameplay is about as good as I think it could get. I don't see a way to make it better, at least in the 1 versus 1. Of course, the AI could be a lot better, the campaign mode, but those are features. That's not the core. That's not the core of the mechanics of the game. That's not the heart and soul of the game. And the heart and soul of the game is an incredibly tense, enjoyable, 100% of the time, extremely funny 1 versus 1 insta-kill stabby tug of war. And it's damn good. Damn good. But it is held back by stuff like this. A limited player base, limited feature set, and a basic AI. An arcade mode that just really isn't up to snuff. Now, when it comes to its visuals, I'm going to leave that up to you. I think you've been able to watch it now so you can see it in motion. And that's perhaps the most important thing. You'll be able to see it more in motion on the video that's on Jen's channel. Screenshots don't do it justice. The way that the character models interact with the weapons, the way that they die, it's not done justice through static images. I really like it. I think that the garish color contrast actually works. I was scared that the models would mix in with the background. They totally don't. Because they've used such riotous, frankly obnoxious contrasting colors, it's very easy to see what's going on. Except in the places where they deliberately don't want you to, like you're hiding in the brushes and so on and so forth. And there's the silhouette parts of certain levels. This game is a riot. It's phenomenal for what it is. It's just a Spartan experience. It's lacking in some ways. I would love to see that expanded. I would love to see DLC adding new weapons, new levels, new modifiers, being able to customize your experience even more. But if you have a person to play this with, I wholeheartedly recommend it, without question. Not a doubt in my mind. The first one was great. This one, in my opinion, is better in every way. My name's been TotalBiscuit. Thank you very much for watching. This has been a video about Nidhogg 2. It's currently available on Steam for $15 or your regional equivalent. If you like this video, by all means do feel free to click the like button. If not, dislike button is right over there, and you can discuss the video on the thread in our official subreddit, which you can find in the comments below. I'll see you next time.